Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome. Task This Cryptomaniacs podcast, I think, is going to be one of the most viewed ones. Well, we had that big, huge bump when Sucre was on last week. What do we have? 5,000 views?
Yeah, on YouTube that somebody screenshotted. I don't know if you just got picked up by the algo. I have no idea what happened. I sent a message to Mundo and I said, "Is this Hive Sucre?" He said, "I don't know."
Yeah.
I said, "We don't have that many members, so maybe the algo picked it up and you know it
Yeah.
just ran with it. I have no idea."
The crazy world, the algorithms of YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah, we're just, marketing geniuses, and we know how to get everything, seen by the masses here. Yeah. No, maybe not.
We need to work on that, I think.
Yes, for sure. Welcome, guys. Welcome, everyone. Hello to all. If you are looking for the Zeely campaign, we'll talk about that in a minute. The keyword, we will be revealing it later. So if you're listening to this recording, we're not going to tell you when you got to listen in. You've got to tune in, right, Task? We're not just going to give it.
Yeah, I
They got to
mean,
do a little bit of work, right?
yeah, you have to listen to us for at least an hour. I mean, we try not to make it too painful. We know it is, but we try to limit it. We don't scream, yell. Well, sometimes we do.
Sometimes, yeah. Lots of good questions too for the Threadcast. So we are live on Leo Threads right now. If you want to take part in the show, be sure to check out Taskmaster 4450LE, not 4450. This is 4450LE on Threads for the live Threadcast, because we got some really good questions from the
I also
community.
if you follow me on Twitter, I just sent the link out on Twitter, so you can pick it up there too if you want.
Twitter, how dare you?
Well, I sent it out on Threads too.
Yeah, no, I know. You got to do the Threads thing, right? But anyways, let's get into it. You ready for some questions? Should we?
Sure.
We'll do it like here. I'll do it the other way, because people get really mad if I use the day instead of the night. Do you use night or day for your threads?
Day.
Yeah, I use day too. Like, I think you and I are like the only two that do that, though.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Long form is okay at night, but the threads I use day.
Yeah. Let's we haven't done this in a while, so here we go. You can't even see that though, can you? Can you see that?
Not really. I can't see it, but I can't read it.
Well,
Read
I'll read it out. I'll read them out. We're gonna have some fun today, guys. So the first question comes from Belimo. How often do you get a haircut? I like Cal's response. Robots don't grow hair. But yes, Task. How often do you get a haircut?
Well, as you well know, John, being a follically challenged older man, what hair are you referring to? You're referring to the hair on my head, in my ears, on my back.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I shave every day, my face and my head, so it all gets done at the same time.
I got my head last night, so I'm coiffed today, man.
Yeah.
Bald head today. So there's your answer, Belimo. Hopefully, big shout out to Belimo, friend of the show. We got to have him back on. See how he's been doing.
He's evidently he sent out a thread. He's moving to the UK.
Is he going to the UK? Because he was trying to get over here, wasn't he? Trying to go to Canada or something like that? And
I had only heard in the past. He had his eyes set on the UK. It could be that he was trying to get to Canada. I don't know, but I don't recall that. But yeah, he wants out of Nigeria and trying to get to the UK. So I don't know when this excursion is supposed to take place.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how he goes. Thank you for the question, sir, and I hope that helps you with your hair growing questions. Cal showed up today for a question, so always good to have the king of the lions here hanging out on the show.
Few more questions came in, so keep refreshing, John.
Oh, I will. Yeah, beautiful. Cal says we've gotten a lot of volume and selling pressure on Bitcoin in the past 2 days. What do you guys attribute that to? And where are your opinions on crypto price action this summer? I will defer to the robot, the AI of the show. Yeah.
John's got to like go find his Bollinger Band chart. So give him a few minutes. He hasn't looked at them in a few weeks, so he may not be able to find it till after the show. He didn't bookmark them in an easy to find place, I'm sure.
Yes.
I don't know. Last few days, it's the equity markets have had a sell off too. So it to me, Bitcoin goes to the risk on, risk off, and when you have circumstances where people are jittery, they take risk off, so they sell, and they're going to move into safer assets, which in cryptocurrency is the stable coins, or in the equity markets, you either move to the blue chip stocks or even you just go to cash. As far as the summer, I wasn't in this, but it was in another thread that I kind of knocked Cal's socks off. I have a feeling the Fed starts to reverse course by Labor Day. So we got this CPI, it was at 4.9, the US CPI. The PPI came in, which is the producer price index, which are raw materials, that came in surprisingly lower than they expected. I think it was 2.3. So the PPI usually leads the CPI because, as you can imagine, if the price of raw materials are going down, well, manufacturers then are going to put it into their products, and that'll end up bringing consumer prices down. So that, coupled with the fact that the banks are in horrific shape, and it's due to the fact that there's no buy demand on the long end of the yield curve with bonds. And the only way they can do that is raise the value of bonds, which is lowering interest rates. So I think the Fed's going to have their cover and also be backed into a corner where they're going to have to start reversing course, which that will excite the markets. And I think then you're in the risk on. So I think this summer it might flatline for a while, but I think as we get near the end of summer, risk on could be very attractive, which is about a quarter later than I called last year. I thought it might come around the end of quarter two, but it might be pushing later into quarter three.
That's why I defer to you. You gave the big scientific answer. I would have said, "Dear Sir, when moon." That would have been my answer. Because no, close enough. Good question. Thank you, Cal. Appreciate you, man. Jessica Gomez is upset. I'm curious about meme coins. Meme or mem? Do you say meme or mem, Tass? That's the first question.
I used to say Mimi.
Mimi.
Me.
Yeah, listen. I'm curious about the meme coins, Jessica.
That's what Crypto Maniacs calls it, meme coins.
Meme coins. Perfect. I love it. It is, because it's all about me, right? Like, don't worry about value or community or anything like that.
You're married. Trust me, it's not about you.
True. Yes.
What's hers is hers. What's yours is yours. Rule number one of.
Yeah. Big facts.
Yep.
So she says, have they been used to actually pay for something, or are they like most NFTs now, to hold and to contemplate and hopefully resell them for higher? I think personally, and this is definitely not financial advice, I think they're all bull personally. I think they're all crap. I think they're all just they're about as useful as stubbing your toe against the wall multiple times a day. I don't get it. I get Dogecoin when it first came out because it was funny. It was like,
tongue in cheek.
It was funny. Like, here's this thing that's absolutely worth peanuts, but it's fun. Here's the dog. And then look at everyone who went and bought Shiba Inus because of that, right? Like, all the hipsters got Shiba Inus, or the crypto bros. So I don't know. I think they are hold. I put a disclaimer there because they're hold until there's a red candle. As soon as it's red, then it's sell. There's not really holding in meme coins. It's like you kind of gotta grab it, get it, and then when it takes the big shot up, you sell it top and you ride off into the sunset. But I don't like any of them. I think they're all just a bunch of hype, and it's one of the disease and plagues of the crypto industry. But then again, What do you think, Task?
Yeah, I think most of them are worthless. They're just projects thrown together. It's like the IPO days. We went through that with the IPO days where, people took these white papers and changed a few words, threw up a white paper, opened up a website, and said, "We're having an ICO for this project," not IPO, ICO. And they were garbage. They were nothing. You can trade them. I
Right.
mean, Pepe was a hell of a trade, but in terms of an investment, I remember somebody saying, "Well, I invested in 10 ICOs or something," and somebody wrote back, "You don't invest in ICOs. That's dumb." And it is. You trade it, and But I think could there be a couple in this wild array of things that ends up taking off? Yeah, I guess so. That maybe somebody builds something out tied to it, but at the end of the day, I see about as much use case as most of the NFTs that we saw out there, which is, zero. It's not even a good medium of exchange. That's the problem with Doge. It's like everybody's saying, "Well, will Elon incorporate Doge into Twitter?" It's a shit medium of exchange. It's too damn volatile. So, from that perspective, so what do you have left? You have value capture. Well, what's tied to it? Nothing. What's tied to Pepe?
That's what's tied to it.
And so I think when you look at, the different areas, and I won't go any further because I posted a picture that Cal put up, a screenshot. So we'll get into that, which talks about also other aspects of this. So I'll just shut up now.
There you go. Perfect. And this kind of goes along with Crypto Geek's question. How much have you earned with Pepe? A big zero.
My return was rather flat. I did get out with what I put in. How about you, John? I broke even on.
Yeah, I broke even too. Yes.
You broke even. So
broke even.
Yeah. John and I have the same amount of money as we started based upon our trade of Pepe, which is, I think, between the two of us, if I rounded up to the nearest decimal point, I think it's zero.
Zero.
So my math is correct, John, on that. I didn't use my calculator on my computer, but I think it's zero.
Yeah, I got a good one from Staples. If you ever need a good calculator, really good, $5. Anyways, let's move on. Thank you for the question, Crypto Geek, and apologies for not being more in depth with our investment advice in Pepe. Jay Fang, friend of the show, is up. It's been a while, but I heard some posting about Hive Loans a few weeks ago, and I wonder if you know anything about Hive Loans project that was talked about over a year ago. Wasn't that Cly?
That was Cly. I have no idea what Jay Fang's referring to in terms of what he heard a week or two ago. I haven't heard anything about that in well over a year. I have no idea what's going on. It was something that he was working on and then stopped working on. He had some medical issues or something. So maybe he got back to it, and maybe he will eventually bring something out. It was the Hive Loans, for those who don't know, it was the idea of being able to take Hive Power and take out a loan against Hive Power. So effectively, you're making Hive Power liquid by, saying, okay, if I got 10,000 Hive Power and it's worth $3,800, I can take a loan for, let's say, $1,900 against, my Hive Power. And as long as you pay it back, there's no problem.
There you go. Perfect. You actually asked a question, and I think what you're doing here, this is Bitcoin Flood asked the question, would you pay $8 worth of Leo to be verified on Threads? And Cal responded he was thinking of doing something like a stake weighted level. I'm assuming that's what you posted to talk about that. Was that what?
Well, it actually, I didn't read. I actually wasn't referring to what Bitcoin Flood was talking about, but that's a valid point that he brings up, and Cal obviously showed his response. But this is why I said I'll shut up now when I was talking about Pepe. This John goes to what we talked about on Tuesday's show with your accumulation of Leo. Now, granted, you have your own motivation, let's say.
Yeah.
And basically what Cal is doing is tying, basically he's taking the same thing. He's saying what instead of using Twitter Blue, which I've written articles about this. The whole idea of Elon Musk is to take Twitter Blue, charge people $8 a month, and just build incredible value around Twitter Blue. So you hit up everybody for $8 a month, everybody who wants to, and over time they get more and more features. So maybe they can access Tucker Carlson's, video stream. Maybe they can access long form blogging. They can access this. They can access that. Well, we're Web3. We don't need to charge people. We just tell people make an investment. So instead of charging you $8 a month, take $8 a month and go buy Leo and stake it. And now Cal's bringing out this same mindset that you are having. Granted, it's a little different title, if you will, but there is the ability to take Leo Finance and based upon what levels people have, you give them certain features. So, maybe there's something, I don't know, the edit button. So to be able to edit your thread or your post, you might want to give that, but maybe to edit your thread, maybe you need 500 Leo power or 300 Leo power or whatever the number is. Then maybe to do something else, you need X, and maybe to vote in a poll, you need 1,000 Leo power or whatever the case may be. So you set up these metrics and you get more access to the site. Now, the bigger picture, as I've written about with the ad revenue, as I've written about, I wrote a post last night about building businesses and us as community building business to drive revenue in. This is another demand feature for Leo token, where if I want to edit my tweets and I have, let's say, 350 Leo power and I need 500, well, maybe I'm incentivized then to go spend, what is that, like $5? Go spend $5 and buy another 150 Leo and power it up. And then I have the ability to engage in what I want to utilize. And so that's part of the incentivization process to not only get people to hodl, but also to get people to buy. And then, of course, I think the revenue stream coming in and the day that Leo ads actually pay something out, I don't even care what it pays. You could send out one Leo for every 1,000 or one Leo for every 20,000 Leo that are out there. Doesn't matter. If somebody gets 0.001 Leo from Leo ads, you're going to see posts out your ass, and people will really be excited because then they understand the revenue stream Web 3.0 is starting to take place.
Yeah, I responded to Bitcoin Flood and I said, well, yeah, I'd graciously spend $8 because I'm an absolute degenerate when it comes to Leo. So I've just been powering up like crazy. And actually, a Nomad Soul, friend of the show, sent me a note, like I mentioned on Tuesday, and he's like, dude, just slow down. Just don't go powering everything up right now. Just slow your roll. Wait for LPUD that's coming on the 15th. It's hard, man.
Well,
I upped my Leo voter delegation last night. So I went from 10,000 Hive power like a week ago. Then I did 5,000 extra. I did another 5,000 last night. So I'm up to 20,000 Hive power delegated to Leo because now I'm getting 200 Leo a day pretty much. Like 100 and something. Well, what is it? 125 I'm getting a day or something like that?
I have no idea. I don't even know what I'm getting a day. I'd have to look, but
it's great.
It's again, this is where you call yourself a degen. I call you a lot of other things, but leaving that aside, none of them, by the way, are as bad as what your wife calls you. But
yes,
we'll leave that. That's for another show.
Oh, wow. Yeah, perfect.
No, it all comes down to seeing the value proposition that is starting to form, and I was heavy into Leo a couple of years ago because in talking to Cal, I had some idea what the vision was, even though, in a changing industry that's so embryonic. I mean, it's, as we know, DeFi has changed completely since Cub opened up, and, a lot of things change. So you got to have flexibility and evolve.
Yeah.
But I knew there were big plans, and we're still not there yet, but we're starting to see where somebody who actually has the ability to connect a few dots, even though the bridges aren't built, you have the ability to say, okay, I could see how we can get from here over this river to the other side, because you see the infrastructure going into place, and you see the value of Leo threads in terms of potentiality. You see the value of the ad revenue. You see the value of incorporating potentially shorts into Leo threads. Then you start to see the ability to copy what Elon Musk and Twitter is doing. To a large degree, we can copy that on Leo Finance. In fact, that's part of the mental model Cal is working from.
Right.
And so if Twitter implements something, and it'll be interesting to watch over the next 6 months how much Elon and the Twitter team build on that Twitter Blue, because he wants to get away from being dependent on advertising. And again, just think about it. If he gets, I don't know, 50 million Twitter Blue people at, what is it, $8 a month? That's 400 million a month.
Right.
They were getting $1 billion, I think, at one point in advertising. So that offsets a great deal of it. So you start doing that and you start to see, wow, he's building a lot of value there. But guess what? Whatever he does, not whatever, but a lot of what he does there, we can take to the same thing. But instead of charging people for it, it's like, hey, if you're a part of Leo community and you want to be involved, well, you have incentive to go out and get yourself Leo however you can. And part of that's going to be buying it on the open market, but we're going to make it well worth your time. So, these are things that come into play. And the fact is, by you adding more HP to your delegation, you just created more money to buy Leo off the market, because that's being funded through open market operations, through buying on the open market. So, now if you get another 50 Leo a day, or whatever the number works out to be, that's got to be bought on the open market.
Oh, dude, I love it. I mean, I've said it for when did I start delegating? I think it was 2020 to Leo Voter, and I said it's it's the biggest no brainer on the blockchain. But let's do something before we get into Lisa's question. Don't go telling anyone, guys. But we have a keyword, a Zeely campaign. Should I should write it? Should I play with them a little? Like, just write it, like, don't even say it, so people physically have to watch the recording to get the word? Or should I say it?
No, because we're on podcast, so.
Well, yeah, but people will watch the replay on 3Speak because they're awesome. Anyways.
I wouldn't bet on that one.
The keyword, guys, and we're not very creative, but if you know how Cryptomaniacs operates, we talk a lot about Web3. The keyword is Web3 for your XP in the Zeely campaign. So no one go and tell anyone. I know you guys won't, because we want to see people listening into the show, or hear people listening to the show. Web3 is the keyword. Hopefully you guys stick around for some more juicy stuff, because we got Lisa's question up. Just read your article, Web3, fancy that. Taking Leo Finance to another level. Getting our revenue from Leo ads is kind of awesome. As far as the game, would it be a finance wealth building kind of game? Did you mean like a game, like just gamifying this? Like, is that what you meant?
No, a game.
Like
create
a game.
Some type of freaking
like
game.
Monopoly. Monopoly.
Yeah, no? Something like,
right.
A game. I don't give a shit if it's Tetris. Build something, Candyland. It doesn't have to be finance or money related. It's just I mean, think of games, and then you start to incorporate HBD, you incorporate Leo, you do the same thing. If you're playing this game and you want to do something, you want to have this power, you want to add this power to your asset, well, you need to have 500 or 1,000 Leo power. And, these are things that you can do to incentivize and then, create revenues models and stuff like that, and advertising and profits and whatnot. This article I was talking about, and the idea came from it, just to let everybody know what Lisa's talking about. I wrote this, it came from the idea of watching YouTube videos. And I noticed that, like, I watch a number of Tesla YouTube videos each day. And there's some content creators who, are not clickbaiters and they're not clowns. They actually say some legitimate stuff and do some research. So I listen to them. But, all of them have these sidekicks that they're doing. They a lot of them have created, a store where they have non-copyrighted Tesla shirts and stuff. They create logos, they create stuff, and they sell them. And then I was watching another video where this guy it wasn't Tesla, but this guy did something with coffee, and he was promoting coffee as like a small coffee company. And, as I started to look at this, and then I was watching somebody commenting on Tucker Carlson and how, this guy's going to clean up. And then the guy was saying, but, very few of us can make the money off a platform like a Tucker Carlson. And he says that's why we supplement it with these other things, and we sell these different products and whatnot. And it got me thinking, and I'm sitting there saying, well, why don't we collectively take that with Leo? And I said in the article, this is just brainstorming here out loud. I don't have any concrete ideas as of yet. But if you start to look at these ideas of creating a game, playing a game, promoting a game, I mean, we're a community where we have a bunch of people who have a variety of skills. They have a variety of backgrounds. They have a variety of abilities. Plus, they can all market. Plus, they have an incentive. They have an interest because they own Leo power. And so if the revenues and the profits are helping, again, to feed into the ad revenue model and go into that smart contract and being distributed because it's buying Leo off the open market. Now, instead of maybe $2,000 a month, you get $10,000 a month. Instead of $10,000, you get $100,000, whatever the numbers work out to. But then suddenly you start to do some math, John, and you sit there and say, listen, is creating $1 million with a few hundred people really that outlandish? No, it's not. One person creating $1 million company, okay, that could be challenging. But $1 million with a few hundred people all incentivized and working towards it, now suddenly you got something that's very different. And then, of course, if you have $1 million and most of it's profit, well, how much is that buying off the open market? And then what does that lead into? And, on and on and on. And so that's what Lisa's referring to. And she just happened to glom on the game. But that was just one of the ideas off the top of my head. Games, merch shops. I mean, it's going to take some brainstorming to say, can we put stuff together?
Yeah, crazy. We're at the beginning of this stuff. That's what's so exciting. Tokenized Society. Good to have you. He's actually live as well, watching on Vim. Big shout out.
By the way, John, I don't know if you've been following mine and Tokenized conversation on Threads. But it is now official. Tokenized is a total nerd.
Oh, perfect.
He's a total nerd.
Perfect. Then friend of the show, then. That's what you're saying.
Do we appeal to the nerds? Are we nerds?
I think so.
I'm not smart enough to be a nerd. That's my problem.
I know. People say.
I mean, I could be a nerd because I'm pretty good with numbers. I mean, I always think of a nerd as somebody who's kind of numbery. I'm not a geek. I'm not smart enough to be a geek. I don't have the technical abilities to be a geek. I wish I did because geeks run the world.
Tokenized said, let's talk some Dungeons and Dragons task.
See, total nerd. I remember that. I don't know how they play that today. Is that online? Is that
I don't know. Come on, like, dude, my foray into the fantasy realm was Splinterlands. That was my first and last foray into it.
So. I remember there was a guy who I was good friends with in elementary school, and his brother, who was a few years older than us, so he was probably in middle school at that time. He was a big Dungeons and Dragons player, and they actually physically got together to play because it was a board game. It was an in-person game. And so I just wonder, I mean, I was under a presumption that Tokenized had to get together with his buddies, but I guess it's probably an online game today.
Oh, yeah. Him and a Nomad Soul are definitely having fun at your expense, and I love it. Tokenized did confirm it is online, but a Nomad Soul says, Taskmaster, what do you think of the new expansions of Magic the Gathering? Like, what do you think of it, Task? What's your opinion of the new expansions? Huh?
Is that in the porn realm? I haven't come across that one. I don't know. It's I love our audience. I mean, Jay Fang. At least Jay Fang stopped with the Splinterlands question.
Right. Well,
I mean, for like 3 months he asked about.
Because I don't bring it up every time now. I don't bring it up every day.
Well, you left Splinterlands too, so I mean,
I left it like a
we had it where he was asking questions, and he knows damn well I didn't play it. I mean, I gave up when the Daily Quest became monthly, then quarterly. But so no, I to answer Eric's question, I will honestly admit to the audience, I have no fucking idea what the hell you're talking about. None whatsoever. I don't even pretend to know. My Dungeons and Dragons, as I said, was relegated to my buddy. His older brother played it. And by the way, we didn't get into playing Dungeons and Dragons, but he did let us join in when they played Risk. You remember that game, Risk?
I loved Risk. Risk was
one of
my favorite board games ever.
But no, I'm not even nerdy enough to be in Dungeons and Dragons. I can't code because I'm a geek. I have no friends, so that makes me have no friends. So, it's just such is the life of me. That's why I can do over 5,000 threads in a month. By the way, Eric, where's the, can you post the list in this threadcast of the latest thread counts on your table? I want to see where Django is and if he made the top 50. If not, I want to.
No, I'm not. Let's go on to Tokenized question. HBD.
You mean there was a question, not just making fun of me and
no, there's
my lack of Dungeons and Dragons knowledge?
Tokenized says HBD has improved a lot in the last year or so in terms of usability, also stability. How can it become even more stable? Is it a technical barrier? Is there anything we as a community can do to help?
Well, see, here's the problem with HBD, most people's view. HBD is a stable coin. Now, most people say it's stable-ish because they're looking at the market, and that's not inaccurate. But HBD is a stable coin. HBD's peg has not broken. HBD is convertible to $1 worth of HIVE. So at any point in time over the last few years, you converted your HBD, you would have gotten $1 worth of HIVE. Now, the amount of HIVE will vary, but you would have gotten it. So it's a stable coin based upon the conversion. The markets go up, markets go down. Now, obviously, we want to tighten that as much as possible. The way that happens, you have two things that are a problem with HBD being very stable on the market. The first thing is just market cap. Small market caps are very volatile. That's just the way it is. So you have the size of it is a problem. The second thing is you have the availability, the liquidity. There not only do you have, I don't know, like 30 or 35 million HBD available, over 20 million of them are in the DHF. You have, I don't know what we are at now, but I saw a headline Dow said, or somebody said we have a record amount of HBD in savings. So what you don't have is you don't have a lot of liquidity. And so that is going to add a certain amount of volatility. And then finally you get to the use case, which we had Mundo and Jon Snow on a week ago, and as great as it is to see what they're doing there, relatively speaking, it's still a drop in the bucket. And almost every transaction that's taken place, unfortunately, ends with the HBD going to some type of exchange to swap for Bolivar. So the stability will come when people start to utilize it, not only for their purchases, but then the person who receives it, they utilize it, and this is called the velocity of money. You get these localized economies, either physical and geographically based like Sucre, or digitally based, within a community like Ragnarok or something, and they keep the currency circulating. And if you do that, you get a larger market cap, you get more liquidity out there, and then you get derivatives. So the liquidity can be enhanced by more liquidity pools like Leo Finance set up, because then you present arbitrage opportunity. And can you imagine, a bunch of people setting up bots across 6 or 7 HBD liquidity pools, and they're just botting it all the time. And anytime, it's out of kilter, they'll go in and fix it. That's what arbitrage does. So, we've come a long way, but there's still a lot of building left. And this is why, people worry about, the 20% is unsustainable. It's like, you're foolish. I mean, do you realize how much HBD we need if we're even going to be a bit player in the stablecoin industry, let alone a major player?
Yeah. Cryptoholics, I'm sure that's nifty, wants to know when feet picks.
Well, I'm not, you're talking to Cryptoholics here, and we had a discussion about OnlyFans. That's where this came from. Actually, I don't know if this is where it came from, but it all stems from Cal's fascination, yes. And I'll use the term fascination. As opposed to fetish. With feet. And a lot of people don't know about Cal. Now, I will put up a disclaimer just so we don't get sued. This has not been proven in a court of law, so there may be a little speculation. But Nifty and I are pretty sure that Cal has an extreme fascination with feet. He seems like a pedicure type guy. Dude. He seems like he wears open toe sandals.
Really?
And so the OnlyFans that is coming to Leo, called Leo Fans, which John is very happy about, because John, who is the king of the Maple Leaf thong, by the way.
Yes.
And he wears it with pride. A proud current Canadian, except when it's cold. Hey. This is going to go on to Leo Fans. And so, Nifty is excited for this feature to be added, I guess. And, I don't know if Nifty has a fascination with feet, or if he's solely asking from a research and educational standpoint. With Nifty, that may be possible, but I don't know. We'll have to see.
This show, like, people come here, this is their first time to the Maniacs. They're expecting like in-depth, like, quality information about crypto.
Okay. While we're on this, and while we're on OnlyFans, John, I do have a serious point to bring up.
Perfect. Yes.
I was doing a little research.
Of course.
Research. Right. I was watching a video, and they were talking, and I don't know if these numbers are accurate, but you got, like 1 million OnlyFans accounts out there, or OnlyFans content creators, we'll call them. And they said, obviously the OnlyFans, the attraction is, you see the media talking about all these women who are making, gobs of money.
Yeah.
And this person who I'm citing obviously did the research, and the average earning on OnlyFans is $108 a month.
Nice.
That's average.
Nice.
And, this person said that percentage-wise, men have a greater chance of making the NFL than women do of earning $15 an hour for 8 hours a day on OnlyFans.
Nice.
And, that kind of got me thinking. And it's like, okay, we've talked about Hive, we've talked about Leo Finance, and we hear all the blowback. And they come at me and you, John, because, oh, you guys are making money. You guys are content creators. And it's like, go look at our first post. It's on the blockchain. Go back to our first couple months of posts and see how shitty our earnings were. We had plenty of goose eggs and plenty of 0.01 posts like everybody else. And the point was made the other day, and I forget who made it on Leo Threads, but he was talking. He said, "This is great." He goes, "I did my first thread. People are brand new to Leo Threads. They're doing, they're on Threads, and they're getting an upvote." He said, and it took months to get upvotes on, when I joined, and it was the same for John and I, because they didn't even have the introduction post back then. It was like you put up a post, and if somebody saw it and upvoted it, fine. If not, you just were ignored.
Yeah, I didn't even know what tags were back then.
Yeah, but this got me thinking with the only fans. If you dedicate yourself to Hive or Leo Finance between base layer and layer 2 token, and keep in mind that you don't only earn Hive off your posts, you also get, Leo if you're using the Leo front end, but you also get whatever that person's voting. So they may have CTP they're voting, they may have proof of brain, they may have, whatever. And so you can ultimately roll these into different tokens that you like, that you want to focus on. Like John has been very open that HBD and Leo is basically outside of CTP, his two main focus this year. He's streamlined. But my thinking is, John, if somebody comes in, even if you're starting at zero, like we did, and you get involved, you start earning, you start curating, because now you get a return for curating. Now you have the ability to stake, with Leo ad revenue, with some of these other things, you get involved, CTPX, I mean, whatever your flavor is, and you start getting these tokens. Within a couple years, if you dedicate the time, effort, and consistency, you're going to be earning more than $108 a month. Yeah. Now, $108 a month is, not going to change the world for most people, but it's a potentiality that I think is very serious out there. And you have these hundreds of thousands of women running OnlyFans, hoping, on average to make that, which means that's average. Half of them don't make that, even that. Mm-hmm. And yet on Hive, it's like people say, oh, you can't make any money, the whales, this, that, or the other thing. And it's like, come on, you got to put in the time, you got to put in the effort. You're not going to make it on YouTube. You're not going to make it on Twitter if you just throw up a video and say, how come I didn't get, monetized? Right. But you do it here, and you can actually build. You can actually use the tools that compound, the blockchain that compounds, to keep growing.
Yep. Yeah, it was a really good point brought up in Vim too. It's the 5% rule, right? I mean, it's 95% of the people won't do a damn thing, and they'll complain and they'll whine and they'll say nothing works and this, that, and a third. 5% will put in the effort, and I mean, that's the great separator of fortunes, I believe it. That's Jessica brings up a great point there in YouTube. Like, that's minimum wage in her country, which is fantastic. That's what Hive represents, the opportunity for people to actually make a living here.
The opportunity, that's the key.
Not guaranteed.
It can be done here, but how many people are going to do it? And John and I have been around long enough, because we can tell you names of people we used to interact with pretty regularly who are not here anymore.
Yeah, gone. Yeah. Nifty let me know that no one says mem. So it's Mimi from now on.
Mimi. Okay. We were right. Mimi.
Yeah, Mimi's. Random, we got the link. He found it. So there you go. Yeah, it's people saying that they're having trouble on Vim. So if you're having trouble on Vim, you can always check my thread. I put both links out earlier, about an hour or so ago, with both the YouTube link as well as the Vim link too. So Random says those NFTs and meme coins do have utility. There to get rich quick. You get in quick and you get out before the
I mean, let's be honest, with the hype around in them, it's on chain, so I have no problem with this.
Yeah,
Marky posted in Threads. He said, he did a poll. Are you still holding your Pepe?
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
no, or never got involved. And, obviously I was part of the never got involved.
We broke even.
But I asked Marky, I said, did you get involved? And I forget exactly what he said, but basically he said, yes, I think he said I had a tasty position, and I know Marky went in with a trade. I mean, that's what he did. He went in. He's not looking for this to be, the next Bitcoin. He went in for a trade, and I don't know if he unloaded or if he lightened his load, but, again, the utility is right. It's get rich. If you find the right one, you throw $100 at it, or $50 or $5 or whatever your comfort level is, and you get a 3,000x in 3 days. Great. But you're gonna throw a lot of money around because there's gonna be a lot that don't move.
I got one more question here from Random. It says, do Leo miner tokens still work? I haven't had any miner tokens for a while, but I'd assume they are because they're all
I presume they do. Yeah. Why wouldn't they still be working?
Yeah, I mean, you might get. Obviously, you're going to get less than if you did when you first bought them because of the inflation and everything, and there's more tokens out there. But it works. I mean, everyone always like, oh, the CTP project. Absolutely everything on the CTP project is mirrored to Leo. Like I poked Cal's brain when we were setting up the CTP token as well as the CTP miners, and it's set up exactly like Leo, and our miners still work. So, I would say for sure they do.
Nifty posted 69 cents. I don't know what that's in relation.
I don't know either. I saw that and I was like, "What
I mean, yeah. I understand what 69 is in relation to.
Of course he does, yes.
But I don't know what that's the price of, unless he thinks that's going to be the price of Leo, or maybe he thinks that's the price of Pepe, the Mimi token. I don't know.
Mimi tokens.
Maybe that's what he's willing to pay Cal for a picture of his feet.
69 cents for.
Or maybe that's what he's going to charge Cal for a picture of his feet. I don't know.
This show goes downhill so quickly. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. If you're coming looking for the word, we did mention it, but we'll mention it again. Web3 is the Zeely campaign word. Web3.
Are you doing Zeely, John?
Of course. But you know what? Let me be brutally honest with you. I got really excited this time last week where I think I was in the top 20. Like I was like, oh man, this is great. I'm doing it. No, man. No, I don't have a shot in hell. Like Nifty, first of all, is like a machine. Like everyone says you're the robot. No, Nifty's the robot. Like, I mean, he's just a machine on Zeely. I do good. Like I'm going to get the big chunk ones, right? Like the power up ones. I'm at Apex Lion power up. So 1500 Leo power, I'm going to power up. Then the next one, I don't even know what that one's going to be. Maybe it's 3,000, but I'm going to make sure that I get those two. So I'll get big chunks of XP, but the day-to-day stuff, I just can't keep up. Like people are just they're awesome. They're absolutely amazing. I'm loving it.
It appears I spoke out of school on Tuesday because, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I caught somebody saying it was on Threads that you can get in. There's a lot of different prizes. Is that the case? And so a lot of people will be rewarded for their efforts, not just
I think the top two get the big boy prizes, right? But I think there's and I obviously don't have any inside scoop or anything, but the rumor is that like Leo Power Up Day is going to be a big deal. So, and that's 4 days from now. 3 days from now if you're across the pond, but like might want to stack some Leo. Not financial advice, but I'm a degenerate and I will be stacking Leo. I'll be buying Leo too, and I'll be delegating to Leo voter because I'm a degenerate and that's what I do with
Leo. I had a conversation a little bit with Belimo earlier today. And Belimo's all in on Splinterlands and GLX. And I made that comment to him. and he said, "Go big or go home." And that is true. It's like, and I've always said that about Hive. I am going to be on the top of the mountain with Hive, or I'm going to be at the bottom of the ocean if it crashes.
That's it. Yeah, man.
But I'm riding it, ride or die, as they call me, Dan says. And, again, if you want a huge payoff, you don't make it by diversifying. You don't make it by getting into 1,000 different tokens and trying to figure out, and hope one hits. Yeah. You do it by getting involved with a project that you are absolutely convinced, and maybe mistakenly so, that you think is going to be the real deal. And if you believe Splinterlands, and if you believe GLX is that, which Belimo obviously does, then it's only smart for him to go all in and to become, like you said, a DJ, because he thinks there's going to be much higher levels. And I'm not going to comment whether he's right or wrong. I have absolutely no idea. You're doing the same thing with Leo. You've seen the light in your mind with Leo, and you say, this is a great thing. I happen to agree with that sentiment. I've been involved. I've been on that side of the fence for a long time. And if Leo accomplishes half of what we hope it does, and Leo gets some decent numbers on the price of its token, you're looking on easy street. You're looking at life-changing money. And that's what I think people need to do with crypto, is figure out what life-changing money is to you, because it's something different to all of us. But figure out what life-changing money is, and figure out what can get you there. A lot of people found life-changing money by investing early on in Bitcoin. Some people found it in Ethereum. There's a lot of people on Hive who have life-changing money. There's a lot of people who are looking at, other projects. Whatever it is, that's fine. But, it's like, do you want want Leo to go up 100x? And so now you're sitting there holding $20. Here you have the opportunity to be in something that does 100x or even 1,000x, and you got a couple $100. Big deal. It's like if something goes up 10 or 20 or 50 times, you want to have enough stake that it makes a difference. And that's where, you can call yourself a degen all you want. I mean, the idea is you are scaling in and increasing your holdings because you believe in it. And if you believe in it and you're right, you want that life-changing payday. You don't want to have, for Canada, okay, if you got 10 grand, 20 grand, that'd be nice. You don't scoff at it, but that's not going to change your life. That'll pay bills for a little while. That's about it. Right. Or you then can roll it into something else and hope you get 100x or 10x off that. But if you're going to get into a 10, 20, 50, 100x in terms of a token, you want it to mean something once it happens.
Yeah, and I mean the big thing is the community is vibrant. That's a big obvious sign with Leo, but they also get what I believe in, and that's short form content. Just all you got to do is look at threads, look at the Zealy campaign. You can see there's an absolute thirst for this type of stuff on a blockchain. That's actual Web3. Actually, anyway, I'm not gonna get into that, or else we'll be here for another hour. But dude, it was a great show, man. I mean, I really miss these question and answers, and it's good that obviously it combined with the Zealy campaign today, so there was a lot of activity and a lot of viewers, a lot of first timers. Welcome to the show, guys. So we're gonna do this each and every week, where we do put up the threadcasts on Tasks Threads account, and we will literally not only I'll be upvoting you, Task will be upvoting the questions. We'll do what we did today and get you guys a little bit of exposure out there as well, and just part of the community, just giving value to the community, and the value is reciprocated, which is awesome. So
well, you're sold on Threads. To subcategorize that, I'm sold on Threadcast. I think Threadcasts are a huge epicenter for Leo threads. And I've been watching RM Sadkri. he's been doing threads, which I've gotten involved in, helped a little bit the last couple of days on what John, you and I call soccer, what they call football.
Soccer, football.
And, they've had 150 to 200 comments in those threads.
Yeah.
CTT ended up opening up a second thread during their episode on Saturday. They ended up with, I think, close to 400 comments in those two threadcasts. So, this is a great way. And as I can tell, John and I can tell you, by being on air live and having a threadcast to it, and we can go through and keep updating. Now there's two-way interaction, not just between me and John, but between us and you. Yeah. And so that's a way to speak to us while we're on air and, put forth your ideas. And, as you can tell, you can even make fun of one or two of the hosts and have fun at our expense. And there's no downvotes on threads, so I can't even downvote those fucking threads. I'd have to go to the comment section and peek D for those people to find it. And I'm really not that motivated. So in fact, I think I can't even see the damn thing. I think I probably upvoted those two making fun of me.
Yeah, no, I did, definitely. Thank you guys for coming out. We will be on Tuesday. We got Alindos. He will be here, friend of the show, on Tuesday the 16th. So, and then we'll be back next Thursday as well. So you guys have a great weekend. Be good to each other. Happy threading and happy zeely-ing. Zeely-ing? Sure.
Sounds good.
Toodles.